Well, good evening, everyone. It is Monday evening. Wanted to get on and do a video to look at the next 2 days here coming up, both Tuesday and Wednesday. Looks like we're going to have a return of severe weather across much of the state of Texas, possibly impacting Oklahoma as well, but it looks like most of the threat is going to be across kind of north and north central Texas, and maybe into East Texas tomorrow. We'll see, but I think kind of that north and north central Texas will be the main threat areas. And it looks like back to back days certainly could see severe weather, really all modes possible, tornadoes, hail, damaging winds tomorrow, and then again on Wednesday. It does look like for the Dallas Fort Worth metro area that likely Wednesday is going to be the bigger day. It's possible we'll just see some kind of drizzle, a couple showers here and there for tomorrow, Tuesday. But I think Wednesday does have the potential to be a relatively high end severe weather day. Although I think that these next couple days, while there could be severe weather, actually really, really tricky. And I'll show a little bit of that here with the weather data and the model breakdown on why this may be a challenging forecast. And I could see events from just beneficial rainfall the next 2 days and maybe some cracks of thunder, a little bit of hail here and there, to certainly potential for severe weather, tornadoes, maybe several of those, and then some significant hail as well. It's going to be a pretty wide range of possible outcomes that we're going to see. So let's take a look at this here. This is looking at today, so Monday afternoon's weather model data here, kind of middle afternoon. And so this is the map of our dew points that are forecast looking at tomorrow about 7 p.m. So Tuesday, 7 p.m. And I think what we can see here is that we do have some of this better moisture, kind of this plume that comes up from the Gulf Coast. We've got 60, 70-degree dew points off the coast here in the Gulf of Mexico, and then 60-degree dew points stretching all the way up to almost Childress, Texas here. Now, again, this is 7 p.m., so, a little bit before sunset tomorrow. So we do have some moisture in place, although I think it's going to be a little bit late arriving tomorrow. And that's what may make tomorrow a little bit of a conditional day when it comes to severe weather. And so, when we back up and we look at the different threat areas, again, tomorrow, when we take a look, Storm Prediction Center has issued a 2 out of 5 slight risk for a lot of central, even some of eastern Texas, including really Austin, almost San Antonio, certainly Dallas, Fort Worth, almost to Houston, and then stretching a little bit into kind of northwest Texas, north of Abilene, almost up to that Childress area. And the main threats, we do have a little bit of a tornado risk. Kind of that I-35 corridor and east is the main area for tornadoes. A little bit of a conditional threat, certainly. Biggest threat will be for the potential for some large hail. Anytime you see this hatched area here, this means that you could see some significant hailstorms and some pretty damaging hail. So looks like hail will be the main threat, but a 5% tornado risk that there was in brown, that's certainly relatively significant. Again, not a tornado outbreak, but definitely something that you want to, keep your eyes to the sky type of a day. So we'll see kind of how this materializes here. And then when we look at Wednesday, we've got another 2 out of 5 slight risk. This area a little bit further north, really from the Red River, Texarkana, Shreveport, all the way back to kind of the Austin area, the Hill Country, and a little bit west of Abilene. So relatively similar area, a little bit of a different configuration, but again, could see all modes of severe weather, tornadoes, hail, damaging winds here. And so those are kind of our 2-day threat areas. And again, we've got our moisture that is moving up. Now, when we look at the kind of convective parameters, and really let's just go to the simulated radar here. This is again looking at about 7 p.m. We've got one little storm kind of out here in kind of the west central Texas area, kind of San Angelo area. We do have one storm up here kind of moving from kind of down I-27 from Amarillo to basically the Lubbock area. If we back up a little bit, kind of pops up in the panhandle, starts to move kind of southeast. We do have some storms kind of up here across the panhandle into western Oklahoma. Nothing super significant. Again, relatively low moisture quality. We kind of need some of those dew points to get further up in the panhandle to see a more significant event. So I don't think we're really going to have too much of a craziness there on Tuesday. And again, that area that the Storm Prediction Center has outlined would be here across central Texas. And really, it's kind of hard to even find storms that are being modeled, at least from this model run here. Really not showing a whole lot of activity across central Texas, not significant severe weather by any means. So we'll see if that's adjusted. And again, a pretty tricky forecast coming up here over the next couple days. So again, Tuesday, I think we're looking at a couple storms, maybe up in the Panhandle, maybe Western Oklahoma, kind of moving off to the southeast, probably not impacting the Dallas Fort Worth area. And then when we move a little bit forward into our day on Wednesday, I think this might be the more significant severe weather day. Again, this looks at our dew point temperatures. And when we move forward in time and we start to go into Wednesday here, we can see that we have better moisture, these 60 dew points that do stretch all the way up to the I-20 corridor here. And this would be kind of early morning hours there on Wednesday. And then as we move forward a little bit in time, let's go to this would be 4 p.m. on Wednesday. And what we can see is we've got a little bit of a kind of a boundary setting up, almost a little bit of a triple point here. This would be kind of that cold front that's pushing kind of east, southeast here. And then we've got this warm front that sets up here, kind of north of Dallas Fort Worth along the Red River, back off to the east. And we've got some pretty good moisture pooling, again, mid 60s dew points here. And certainly we can kind of see that as it takes place and we move a little bit further into the day here. We can see that there is really good convergence along the front as it pushes through. And I think we're going to see a pretty good amount of storms here on Wednesday. So if we back up and we look at the simulated reflectivity here and we move forward in time, again, let's say 4 p.m. on Wednesday, we can see this line of storms right along the cold front here, kind of setting up west of the Dallas Fort Worth area up into Oklahoma. And then as we move forward in time, they do start to intensify here around rush hour, kind of that 5, 6 p.m. time frame across even Dallas Fort Worth here, stretching off into kind of the northern hill country, and then all the way back up into Oklahoma, and kind of just forms this line and then pushes through into those overnight hours as it moves south and east. And so I think we could see some relatively decent, significant severe weather here. Now, one of the impacts is going to be while we do have enough instability for storms here, it looks we're not going to have any capping issues as we've had before. It does look like we're going to be dealing with a lot of pesky cloud cover. This is a model that shows, again, kind of the simulated cloud cover kind of around lunchtime there on Wednesday. And the blue here is where you see clouds. And so we see that much of central and north Texas, all of Oklahoma, is going to be really socked in a lot of clouds. Likely, what that does is that keeps our temperatures and some of that instability at bay. So that might be one limiting factor. If we were to get less clouds or more clearing for one reason or another, that would pretty quickly amplify the severe weather threat. And I could see a much more significant severe weather threat setting up for Wednesday if we were to see that happen. But I think we may see a lot of that cloud cover here kind of in the main area out ahead of those storms. And so we may not have the biggest worry again. We might see a good line of storms, more of a damaging wind threat. Probably not so much when it comes to the tornadoes and large hail if this were to be the kind of the scenario that played out. Last thing that I did want to touch on, again, kind of looking at Wednesday specifically, is that when we go back and we look at kind of where are those storms going to be taking place, I did want to look at both days for us. And so if we look, this is our simulated updraft helicity. Basically gives us a rough idea of where's the model predicting the strongest storms, where are those going to be. And so again, this is never exact. I wouldn't zero in and say, "Oh, I'm absolutely going to get a strong storm because this shows it." But it's just one kind of almost like a bullseye feature. Maybe kind of zero in on where the models are saying the best ingredients are. And so when we move forward in time and we look at Tuesday, again, we can see a couple of these updraft helicity swaths here across the panhandle. That one storm that kind of moves from almost Amarillo down to Lubbock, one here in the northern panhandle. We've got that hint across kind of the west central Texas area. And then when we move forward in time and we go into Wednesday, I'm going to go all the way through Wednesday. And I think what we can see here is there's a pretty significant little pickup from the model here of a pretty strong little storm within that line that's going to really kind of move in that southeast direction right across the Metroplex. Now, again, This is not exact. I wouldn't use it as any type of a guarantee or forecast, but it is at least showing that possibly even within that line that we saw, there could be some stronger cells within that line. And as they push through kind of around that rush hour time period here, we could see a couple stronger cells within this line, even if it's cloudy on Wednesday, even if there is a line of storms. If we were to see more broken line of storms, certainly the severe weather, hail, and tornado threat would be elevated. Or if we can get some more sunshine and more of that instability to build up, it'll feel really muggy and humid. And that would also be a pretty good sign that likely Wednesday might be a more significant severe weather day. So, again, pretty complex forecast. There's definitely chances the next 2 days, Tuesday and Wednesday, that we could see severe weather across a pretty wide area within Texas. But I could also see a couple failure modes with both of these systems and days, and it's possible that we might miss out on significant severe weather altogether. So, again, I think the guidance is be aware, know that the next 2 days could have severe weather, have a plan in place now, and make sure that you have a way to get weather information, watches, and warnings, and certainly stay tuned. So, hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you here for the next one.